Okay, so if you really wanted to do this thing upright, you would pull all the crystals, A, B, and C, and put it on channel 1. I would believe, anyway, because 8.159, 11.0035, and 7.8025 equal 26,965. Don't they? Would have to get my calculator out to figure out how to do that, but yeah. So that's what it comes to, 26,965, which is not exactly the frequency. So you would still need an offset on this. 26,965. Let's see what the difference is. 26.965. The offset difference would be 0.0315. But you could definitely make it a lot simpler by doing that. You'd remove those other 2 crystals, but I don't think any of those are easy to get to, because the main 6 crystals that are in the back of the radio are 8159, 8209, 8259, 8309, 8359, and 8409. So that leaves the 11035 and the 7.0825 somewhere else. So let's see. There's actually a couple of other ones that they use. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 5 different possibilities. Okay, so yeah. But if you pulled those 3 crystals, which would entail taking another 2 out of the radio, you could do that. But I honestly still think the best way to do it would be to just directly inject where the output of this is from the radio. After it does all its mixing, it's actually creating this actual like frequency, like really close to the correct frequency. Whereas if it was a VCO, it would be doing something completely different. But when we look at this chart here, and we can see all their different stuff that they're doing. So that any of these other crystals being removed, you would lose quite a few channels. You'd have certain spots where you might actually still have some of the channels, but you would lose a lot of channels. It's the really oddest like scheme here, but like back in the day, somebody would sit here and fiddle around and make all kinds of frequencies out of leftover crystals. But, realistically, it wasn't very tunable. So, I think it's kind of neat, but like I said, I don't see the point in actually, like, leaving this thing hooked up to this radio. Because I don't talk on the CB, so I can actually just listen on a ham radio and have better filtering, things like that. It doesn't matter since I'm not transmitting. Now, if you are going to transmit, then CB is the way to go, because, this thing is 6 kilohertz wide on sideband, so it sounds good on sideband. And I don't know what it is on AM, but it's always going to sound better than a ham radio. It's just, they use a modulation transformer for one thing for AM. And they don't do that in a ham radio for AM. So it's high-level AM modulation. Actually says in the manual for some reason high level and low level. I don't know why it says both, but it says high level, low level. Anyway, let me show you just really quick before We get too far with this. So you don't see it. Well, actually, that might be one of them, but on the bottom there's another one, and that's most likely the one right there. And that is a big boy. Look at that thing. So the bigger the transformer, usually the better the output. So that's right over here. There's probably some pretty good sized capacitor on the other side of that board. I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, we're going to put this back to normal, guys. We don't have a reason to really leave this hooked up in here. I'm not going to be like, dude, let's bust out the Cobra 139 and get on channel 38. The boys are on there.